Okay, we're now joined by NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition, Elton Sawyer. Elton, before we get to questions around the decision-making up in race control, maybe just lead us off talking about that race, an outstanding wild finish with Blaney charging through the field to capture a championship 4 spot.
Yeah, Mike, it was, I don't think we could have picked a better setting. Martinsville, Virginia, 500 laps. Goodyear brought a great tire. You start off, you've got the 11 car starting at the back, working his way up. We've got a lot of passing, different strategies. And what Ryan Blaney did today shows the real grit of a champion like he is. I mean, if you go back last year, I think he finished second at Homestead, came to Martinsville, won the race, and we know what happened in Phoenix. So excited to get to Phoenix next week. Thought our competitors, the playoff system, I would say it has delivered. I mean, it puts these guys on 10 tenths, and they got to bring their A game every week. So I think from a fan and watching today, you saw everything you wanted to see.
Yeah, I think we have a question for Elton. We'll get to as many as we can. We'll start here, work down the front row.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFence.com. Can you take us through the review process on what determined the safety violation that Bell was assessed?
Yeah, Lee, we obviously we look at all the video, and as I back up on that, and you go back 2 years ago when we had the situation with Ross here, we went to Phoenix. There was a lot of dialogue with the drivers that's not a move that we want to have to make on the last lap. We were able to get through Phoenix and had a great championship race that year. In the all-season, meeting with the industry, meeting with our drivers, and to a man, that was not a move that they want to have to make. So there was language in the rule book, and when you look at it today, he clearly got up against the fence there in 3 and 4, and rode the fence all the way, all 4 there, and that's strictly to protect our drivers as well as our fans. So yeah, that was pretty straightforward.
Jeff.
So was the primary focus in race control just on the safety violation? Were you looking at Bubba's, slowing at that point, or the Chevy drivers, sort of forming the block?
Great question, Jeff. No, if you look at the other situations that were going on in 23 and then the cars behind the 24, really no bearing at this time. We'll look at those at a later time, but when you really just dissect exactly what happened, look at the situation with the 20 getting up against the fence and then riding the fence, which is we've clearly stated in our statement after Ross did that would not be accepted.
Dustin, you have a question?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Elton, as you move to next week at Phoenix, is there anything that you guys have to do in the next few days to avoid a situation like tonight where there's a waiting for results or waiting for a determination in terms of what a 1 and what the couple of Chevy cars did behind the 24, what the 23 may or may not have done situation, so that there is no question when things in Sunday night who the champion is?
Yeah, that's a great question. No different this week than any other week. We'll have our debriefings the first of the week. We go over the things we did well, the things we didn't do so well, and what we're going to do going forward. And we'll dissect this race. We'll look at it. We'll make sure our team is ready to go when we get to Phoenix next week, as we did, after Homestead last week coming into this weekend. So we'll have those meetings, starting tomorrow, and we'll be ready as a sanctioning body to get out there. We have 4 very deserving potential champions going out there racing for a championship. Looking forward to getting out there. As I said earlier, I think it's going to be, a great 3 days there with our trucks and Xfinity and Cup on Sunday. Just the table's set for one of the best championship weekends that we've had in a long time.
We'll go to Bob, then
Bob Hawkers, Fox Sports. I have one procedural and then one actual question. Joe Gibbs said that they couldn't protest. Is that
Yeah, it's
true?
an in-race violation, and in-race violations are not, you don't protest them. Or it's not appealable, I should say.
And
No different than an uncontrolled tire or too many men over the wall or anything like that.
And Christopher Bell said, this was not on purpose. He didn't mean to ride the wall, that, that he hit the wall, but he didn't feel like he made an unsafe move. So I'm curious, did you feel like he did that on purpose to gain position?
I'm not gonna speculate on what Christopher did or said what he meant to do. That wouldn't be, that wouldn't be fair to try to make that type of, decision based off that. We looked at the data, we looked at video, and we've been very clear based off our conversations with our industry based off that move 2 years ago that would not be tolerated.
Jordan, you have a question?
Two for me. One, I just want to clarify. Are you guys going to be looking at anything additional about the 23 and then the Chevy cars at all? Or is that?
Jordan, we'll look at everything. As I said earlier, we want to go back, as we would have done anyway. We'll get back, we'll take all the data, video, we'll listen to in-car audio and look at video. We'll do all that as we would any event.
And if something is deemed inappropriate, then a potential penalty then would be possible?
As I said, we'll look at
sure.
it.
And then second thing, if you're just looking at the Bubba, or the Bell wall thing, it was nothing else. It was 27 minutes, I think it was. Is that a time frame what can you explain the time frame and why it was so long there?
We want to get it right, first and foremost, and we want to, this is not something that happens every week. We want to be prepared. I thought our team in the tower did exactly what they need to do. Let's get this right. And fortunately, we don't have it every week, but it is something that we'll go back and figure out if we could have made that decision faster, for sure. I didn't know it took. You could have told me it took 5 minutes or 55. I don't know.
We'll take two more. Go, Mark.
Mark Hill, PLN. Elton, what are the emotions that you're feeling? Frustrated, kind of dismayed, because we had a great race. You had a great story with Ryan, passing Chase at the end, and then here you guys are having to make that kind of call to decide the fourth and final guy in the championship for.
Yeah, Mark, I think the big thing, again, is you look at the totality of the event. You look from, start to finish. There's a lot of positives that come out of today. And again, Ryan, defending champion, and the drive that he had, and the cars that he had to pass. You think about the stress that race team was under, like a lot of them. So I think there's this tremendous amount of positive that comes out of this. I would prefer not to be sitting here, although I think a lot of you folks, but I would prefer to be, out in the garage right now. But this is part of it. This is the role that is a sanctioning body, that we have to make sure that it's an equitable playing field. And just based off the, the move that was made 2 years ago, we just felt like this was the call that had to be made, and we stand by that and feel like it was the right call.
All right, we'll take two more. Go, Jeff, and then wrap with Claire.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I'm not putting words in your mouth. So you said the focus was on just looking at the wall ride. So if he doesn't do the wall ride, regardless of what other happened, he's in. If he makes the pass without hitting the wall, and the Bubba stuff, the Chevy stuff aside, he would be in as of now.
Yeah,
is that fair?
I think there's the hypotheticals is really difficult to. I don't want to be making statements of things that ifs and ands and buts. I don't want to do that. Like I say, the main focus for us in the tower, and when the situation happened, was focusing on the 20 car, and let's figure out, okay, where are we at there? Because to me and our team there was focused more on that than the other stuff. If the other stuff was there, don't get me wrong, but the 20 rose to the level that, okay, we got to figure this one out pretty quick.
And we'll wrap with Claire.
Claire B. Lane, for years, we've had teams say, when they're not in the playoffs, we're going to do our best to help our teammate. And I'm sure that's what you guys will be talking about next week. But is there a clear line about teams helping teams and what they're allowed to do in a playoff situation and what they're not allowed to do to help each other on the same team?
Yeah, I think, Claire, when you look at it, again, from a 30,000-foot view, you want our teams to show up, every one of them to give, the best effort they can to go out and try to win the race. And when you get into playoffs, and then you have this 10-race stretch, and then you start eliminating drivers, obviously roles are different. And then when you get here and there's 8 drivers, we had 2 guys that were locked in. There was 6 guys going for 2 spots, so there's a lot going on. Again, I think our format has delivered. It's given us the excitement, given our fans the excitement that we've asked for. And when you have that, from time to time, you're going to have situations like we had today, because these guys are the best in the world, and they're going to give it everything they have, and the passion that they have to go out day in and day out and try to win races and win championships. So with that, again, we'll go back and we'll download with our team and see how we could have responded quicker to get the answers that you guys are looking for.
Ellen, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. See you in Phoenix.